Assalamu alaikum, dear students and dear viewers. Today we will try to know about the secondary sexual characteristics in humans. Yesterday we talked about adolescence and its types, and today we would try to know about the secondary sexual characteristics in both boys and girls. But before we define the secondary sexual characteristics, we must know one thing that actually there are two types of sexual characteristics. Two types. This is very important to know that there are two types of sexual characteristics. One is called as primary primary sexual characteristic, primary sexual characteristics, and another is secondary sexual characteristics. Okay. So what are primary sexual characteristics? These are those sexual characteristics which are present at the birth. That means when a boy or girl is born, primary sexual characteristics are present at the time of birth. For example, if you when a boy is born, you will have testes, you will have penis, you will have seminal vesicles. That means when it comes to the primary sexual characteristics, it includes both external and internal reproductive organs. Testes, it is an external reproductive organ. Penis is external reproductive organ, and seminal vesicles are internal reproductive organs in case of males. So they are called as primary sexual characteristics. I am repeating. Primary sexual characteristics are those characteristics which are present at birth. That means when a boy or a girl is born, you will see these, you will see the external characteristics in the form of testes, in case of boys, penis, and seminal vesicle, it's internal. Okay. In case of girls, you will see vagina, it's external. Okay. Then you will have ovaries, you have uterus. Okay. Then you have oviducts in case of females. These are called as primary sexual characteristics because they are present at the time of birth. And there is one thing very important to know, that these primary sexual characteristics, they are directly involved. They are directly involved in the process of reproduction. In the process of reproduction. That means all these organs that I mentioned to you, both in case of males and females, they participate directly in the process of reproduction. So, in case now, I'm sure that this primary sexual characteristics, this is now clear to you. Now, after this, you have the main topic, that is secondary sexual characteristics. See, these those characteristic features, those characteristic features, those characteristic features which distinguish sexually mature sexually mature boys and girls, but are not involved in the process of reproduction are called secondary sexual characteristics. Now, those characteristic features which distinguish sexually mature boys and girls but are not involved in the process of reproduction are called secondary sexual characteristics. For example, if if you are supposed to differentiate a boy from girl on the basis of secondary sexual characteristics, it's very easy. For example, in case of if you see in case of boys, you will see, for example, facial growth of facial hair, growth of facial hair, that means beard, okay, mustache, okay. In case of girls, you will see, for example, development of breasts, development of breasts, plus there is nothing like facial growth, so we can easily distinguish a boy from girl on the basis of secondary sexual characteristics, because these characteristics are unique. For example, boys have this facial growth in the form of beard and mustache, but girls don't have. In the same way, girls there is development there is development of breasts in case of girls, but there is nothing like development of breasts in case of boys. So on the base, that's what I said in the definition. I said that these characteristics actually help us to uh, differentiate two sexually mature genders, that's male and female. Okay, now let's see the main secondary sexual characters in boys. First of all, let us see what are the main sexual characters in boys. In case of boys, you must know, first is the facial hair growth that I told you earlier. This in the form of beard and mustache. And number second is simply boys have what we say broadened chest, okay, or we can simply say uh, chest becomes wider, or wide, simply wider chest. In case of boys, I'm talking of. And also the boys also have that deeper voice, okay. It's also called as low pitched voice. Plus in boys, Adam's apple, that's below the throat. Adam's apple. Adam's apple becomes Adam's apple is quite visible. It's quite visible in case of boys, but in case of girls, it's not visible. See, all these secondary sexual characters in boys, they are actually produced by a hormone, called testosterone. Testosterone, and it is made in testes. Okay. In case of boys, the secondary sexual characteristics are produced by a hormone called testosterone, and this testosterone is produced by the testes. Testes are the male reproductive organs. Okay. Now let us see the main secondary sexual characteristics in females or girls. Now in girls, what we have, you have simply development of breasts, which is very obvious. Development of breasts. Then you have broadening of hips. Broadening of hips for a special reason. I can't tell you this right now. Broadening of hips. And number third is, in case of boys, you have low pitched voice, but in case of girls, you have high pitched voice. High pitched voice. It's also called a shrill voice. Shrill voice. And when it comes to the secondary sexual characteristics in females. They are produced by a hormone. They are produced by a hormone called estrogen. 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 And this estrogen is produced by ovaries in case of females. Therefore, please remember this. In case of boys, I told you the secondary sexual characteristics are produced by a hormone called testosterone. Please remember. In case of females, it is produced by the secondary sexual characteristics are produced by a hormone called estrogen. Estrogen is produced by ovaries. So this was all about secondary sexual characteristics both in males and females. Thank you.